Welcome to Narrowboat the James Bill. Hope you're well. Thanks for joining me. We've just heard a train pass, which is loud down here with the trains. This is where I'm going to be. This is in between Tring and Berkhamsted on the Grand Union. It's Bridge 136. Just down there is Calroast Marina, and yeah, kind of middle of October. This is where I'm going to be, which is even weirder because that was my old school rowing club premises. We didn't do much rowing, in fairness. We drank quite a lot down there when we were out of sight of the masters. Anyway, it's bank holiday weekend. I'm heading up to the boat with the kids, not for long, only for a couple hours. I better go, they're locked in the car. So I've been discussing things with my Signwriter, so I've had to come up really to take some basic measurements, which I should have, and I don't. I got no idea what the distance is between those two. So anyway, because I said to the Signwriter I wanted it to be 3 foot roughly. I just had a kind of a rough idea, by a foot tall. He's like, oh no way, you could never have that. So oh, okay, so I've clearly got to take some measurements. I think I can hear the kids screaming down by the front there with John, so he's lit a fire, so should be alright. Yeah, so it's that's the plan really, just take some measurements and work it out. I'm hoping it's going to disguise some of the, well, it's not going to disguise all of it, but in these bits here, and on the other side it's a little bit more, well, the metal surface isn't the best, as we know.
So who was born first out of you two? Out of you two. Arthur was born first.
Typically the children got bored stiff after about 30 seconds of me getting the tape measure out, so John has taken pity on me and tried to take the kids off my hands for a little while. So John's childcare services coming into action. Thank you very much. Oh, hit it!
First time!
First time!
Hey! Arthur, high five!
Close! So I know these angles are pretty bad. Alright, so when the hatch door's open, it's got to fit in there, which I think is okay space-wise. And then it's at the back of the boat, which is a bit more traditional. So I think I'm going to have it here. Now that means my index numbers, which I was going to have kind of at the back there, I can't have that because I can't have the index number there and then the boat name there. It's all a bit busy. So then I'm thinking I could have, bear with, I could have the index numbers at the front of the boat, which is fine. So I could either have it on the fake cratch cover and have it there, or if that would detract from the cratch cover look, I could have it forward of the nav light. I can't have it behind the nav light because on the other side there's a window, but I could have it forward of the nav light and that would be symmetrical on both sides. Or I could have it on the front here of the bow extension. And index number wise, I'm having the index number, which is obviously 5 digits, and I'm having the swan, which I think is the done thing. All I can hear are the kids screaming. I hope John's childcare services are staying away from the dogs. Okay, so obviously the sign needs to be here at a maximum. So kind of with inside those bits there, when I get my when I get my pram hood at the back, see if we can utilise these. So canvas might come up to there, in which case I'm going to want the sign to kind of start around here. So I've got 4 foot basically to play with there. What have I got vertically? I guess, I mean, I don't know what the size of these things is. That's a foot. Would the font size be a foot? Right, well, let's measure up the other side. So if I can get a 4 foot one there, I don't want one side to be bigger than the other. But I can get 4 foot by, well, 1 foot max there, or 1.5 foot, but I don't think you'd have it that big. That was 4 foot. All right, okay, yeah, that'll fit in the middle of that nicely. Actually, I haven't got that much more room to play with. I thought this was huge. But that space is only kind of 5.5 foot. Okay, so yeah, 4 foot at a maximum is that. Obviously, up there. Yeah. Right, that'll work. Right, let's go and check on the kids. Oh great, John's let them play by the hammock by the fire. If you want more information on John's childcare services, then he can be found asleep in his Winnebago.
Who's Linda? Linda?
Bloody useless. Right, come on kids, we're going home.
Why?
Why not?
Can we go to the boat? Just 10 more minutes.
We're at the boat.
Well, can we just go inside the boat for a bit and then go? Oh, Daddy, please, just 10 more minutes.
Okay.
We can both go to the boat.
Bloody kids. Now I've dropped the kids back, I can turn my attention to probably the most important thing of all, the font. Narrowboats have got a range of fonts and styles when it comes to sign writing, but the one I want is pretty specific. In fact, it's really specific, and I've had to come to London to show you. And this is the font, Johnston 100. London Underground have been using Johnston 100 since 1913. So yeah, that's when it was first commissioned. And it's changed a little bit over the years. It was standardised in 1979, so it was used kind of a little bit different around the network up to then. And this bit here, the underlined bit in between the capitals, that's something that kind of was phased out in 1979. Before that, it was there was quite a lot of it, and I like that. My boat was built in 1971, so I'm going to be using the same font that London Transport used, or London Underground used in 1971. And back then, they did have the line. Well, the reason I brought you to Barron's Court Station here on the District and Piccadilly line is because there's lots of old-fashioned signage here. And I'm taking some photos to send to Darren, and he's going to provide me a mock-up of the signage on Wednesday or Thursday of this week, ready for when he comes later on in the week. So I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing what it might look like. It's going to be capital S, well, it's going to be all in capitals, but it's going to have the line underneath between the S and the L. So yeah, that's the plan with him, but really kind of balls in his court now. I've done all there is to do now with the sign writing. I think in terms of the actual font, unlike London Underground, this one is going to have a shading, only because it kind of has to on a narrowboat. It looks so much better if it's got a shadow, so or shading, should we say, not a shadow. Yeah, that's the plan, and I think we're going to do some little music notes after the name and make the ball bit of the music note look like a slowberry. So that's the plan. Thank you so much for all of your lovely comments about the last video when Carol came up to see us. She just, yeah, she really enjoyed reading them all. I think it probably brought a tear to her eye. I spoke to her a couple of days afterwards, and yeah, she really enjoyed it. She crashed out as soon as I kind of dropped her off, as I did. Well, I didn't. I drove home and then crashed out. But yeah, she had a lovely time. But it was really nice kind of keepsake for her, and certainly with all those lovely comments to her. So thank you so much. She really needed that, guys. So yeah, thank you. Really, now the main things are kind of ahead of crane day is batteries, solar, and deck. So batteries, they're all on, just got to get the cables and kind of get them all crimped up and in place. Solar, really, so it's just about working out the best route in for the cables. I want to ideally get them into the boat without cutting any holes. I do have one of those things that go on the roof, but they're not ideal. So there is a few ways in. Obviously, I've got the mushroom vents. There's two of them I could opt for. One I've tried and I can't get the cable through because there's all conduit and stuff stuck up there, so I can't get a passage through. I really am loath to take a panel down or take two panels down. The kind of the thought of it sends shivers down my spine, so don't want to do that. So I'm just looking out of ways to do that. The other thing is the deck. So now the gear lever's been moved. We do have to make a couple of changes to the gear lever. The upright needs to be a rod, basically. It needs to be stiffer than what it is. And then we need to put a bend in it, and then obviously I need a gear knob on top of it, which is quite exciting because that provides, again, another myriad of choices. The obvious one is a skull, but I don't know, there's a part of me which thinks maybe possibly something slightly classier, but I don't know if you can get classier than a skull. I don't know. Anyway, that's something to consider. But the deck really is the main thing. I've found, even though I bought timber, ignore that because I can reuse that somehow. I found a composite material. So basically it looks exactly like decking, but it's non-slip. I think it's 70% wood, 30% plastic. Comes in a variety of colours. I quite like the light grey. But yeah, non-slip, that's the main thing. It's quite pricey, but I don't need a huge amount of it. So yeah, I'm going to have another look at that. And then I really want to start turning my attention to the front doors, back doors, front doors, back, anyway, the doors. I need to turn my attention to them. I obviously need a lock on them. I can't have a padlock, so I need a proper lock. I don't think in its current way I can get a proper lock on there. There's just not enough meat to latch onto, and anything I do therefore put onto it will be so superficial, be so easy to knock off. So I'm thinking about cladding the outside of the doors somehow, maybe in like a hardwood, like an oak or something like that. Make it look a little bit like that boat I saw in London on in Westbourne Park. So yeah, something to consider there. Anyway, this week my plan is to get up to the boat at a couple of points if I can, work permitting. But I got yeah, mostly well, I'm in London all week really. Next weekend though, I've got no kids. Well, I obviously do, but they're just not with me at the weekend. And I'm there all weekend, so I've really got loads to crack on with there. So really want to be getting that deck pretty much done that weekend. That'll be a good step forward. Until then, look after yourselves. Bye bye.